Okay, guys, I'm audible. Good. Yes. Right. So let me open the notes. Right. Fine. So let me close all of these pop-ups. Right. So yesterday's notes was available over here, even for the people who have missed it. Okay. So there are virtual machines, and if you click over here, this is what we have discussed yesterday. Okay. And today's notes also will be around here with today's date. Right. So yesterday, what we had tried to understand is whenever we want to create a virtual machine in Azure, right? There is a whole internally what happens is they have their own data centers where they have something called as orchestrator. They have a fabric controller which basically helps to create virtual machines. On each of the physical machines, they have a hypervisor, and that hypervisor is improvised version of uh, yeah, that hypervisor is an improvised version of 1 minute, guys. I'm not sure why in my system the mails are configured. First, let me remove this. Sorry for that, but I don't know why people do this nonsense things. Okay, I'll do it later. I think I should be able to remove the stuff from here, but not sure why it has been done. Okay, fine. I'll delete it later after the class because that is not even my mail ID. That's a whole problem. Right. Okay. Okay. Dheeraj, I'll speak about the account creations also at the last, right? So yeah, okay, fine. So that is what we have discussed, right? So now the whole idea was okay. I want to create a virtual machine, and what are the different things which I need to know when I'm creating a virtual machine? What are the different concepts which I need to know when I'm creating a virtual machine? So that is exactly what we will try to understand today. Okay, right. So let me start with one topic which is common to everything which you do in Azure. Okay, I'll call it as concepts.md. The first concept which you need to understand is something called as Azure Resource Manager. Okay, so for many of you, you might already know it. Okay, but for the people who don't know it, in Azure, whatever you create is something which we call as resource. And whatever Azure tries to offer is service. So whenever you want to create your resources, okay, Azure has a restriction, or Azure tries to tell you that your resources have to be part of a resource group. Your resources have to be part of a resource group. And these resources are generally created using Azure Resource Manager. Azure Resource Manager, right? So earlier they had a different model, but now whatever you create in Azure, it goes via Azure Resource Manager. Okay. Later on in our course, we will try to basically learn ARM templates. Okay. But I'm trying to give a very simple way of what it is. Azure Resource Manager. I'm writing it as ARM. Okay. ARM provides the layer, or I can call this layer as a management layer. Let me try to tell you why I call it as a management layer. Okay. Because this enables to create, update, and delete resources in Azure. Or to be very specific, I should call it as Azure subscription. Okay. So now I've used a new term called as subscription for some of you. Subscription is, I'm quite sure that yesterday I've asked you to go and create an Azure account. So while you are creating an Azure account, basically what you might have done is, first you might have created a Microsoft account. Even if it is your Gmail, first you have to create a Microsoft account. And once you have that account, then you might have activated a free tier plan. Free tier plan. Okay. So here the Gmail or the email ID with which you are logging in is an account. Okay. And Azure offers you subscriptions, and free trial is one subscription. So this I'm not going to represent because we will have a deeper discussion around it anytime. In Azure, basically what you create is account. Each account can have multiple subscriptions, but generally we play around with one subscriptions, right? Okay. And each subscription will have, I'm writing them as RG. When I say RG, it is resource group. Okay. And each resource group will have individual resources. This is what you tend to create. This could be your virtual machine, a database, whatever it is are. So in Azure, whenever you are creating an account for the first time, whenever you're trying to create an Azure account, what you create is an account, right? Within an account, we select a subscription. And generally, you guys specifically play with two kinds of subscriptions. The first subscription is free subscription, right? Free trial subscription. Okay. So with this subscription, what you get is you get $200 of credit for usage for the first month. So Microsoft will be giving you $200 with which you can create as many things as you want. But here there is one catch exactly at this moment. As I said, during this lockdown period, the usage of Azure has gone so high that Azure is unable to accommodate this free trial in some cases. So whenever you might create an account with free trial, it might say that okay, I'll not be able to create because of increase in load. So after 1 month, what you have to do is you have to create something called as pay as you go account. Okay. But understand one thing, there are some services which are free for 12 months. There are some services which are free throughout the account as long as your account is valid, and there are some services which are not free, which are not free. So if you want to use anything for free, this is the only option. That is only for 1 month. That to till you burn this $200. But after that, we will be using only whatever is free. I think I made the point clear over here. So this I'm not writing in the note. This is for a common understanding. Okay, right. Okay. So let us come back to our stuff. So in Azure, what we create is resources. And how are these resources getting created? How does this whole stuff works? So basically what happens in Azure is, okay, you have this huge layer. okay, which is called as Azure Resource Manager. What this Azure Resource Manager individually has is, he has individually, okay, within Azure Resource Manager, you individually have, I'm writing them as RPs, where RP stands for resource provider. Okay, you have resource providers. Okay, you will have resource providers for individual services. So for example, for virtual machine, you will have a virtual machine resource provider. And here, let me write it as resource. Okay, resource provider. So you'll have resource providers. Each Azure resource manager will have resource providers. And okay, I'm again writing it as RP. And what these resource providers know is, they know how to manage the stuff. So for example, here let me use Azure VM. Okay. Uh, Let me go to images. Yeah. So this resource provider knows how to manage virtual machines. Okay. So Azure, actually it looks as if Azure Resource Manager is doing it, but Azure Resource Manager internally has a resource provider, right? So let me write some other services. Azure SQL. Right. So this resource provider manages Azure SQL. And let me write one more, which is Azure Web App. Okay, I'm just writing few, but don't get me wrong saying that there are only few resource providers. There is resource provider for everything which you can do in Azure. Okay, we need to understand this whole stuff before we get into virtual machine. That's the reason why I'm inclined to speak about this stuff. I don't have. I could have started with easily virtual machines, but we need to understand this. Okay, so here I'll write just simple other services. So in Azure, whenever you are creating anything, it is Azure Resource Manager. And remember, Azure Resource Manager, okay, will allow an access only to authenticated users. Okay, am I clear on this? Azure Resource Manager allows access to only authenticated stuff. Now, who can use this Azure Resource Manager? So basically, this is how it turns out. Okay, so you have Azure Portal, you have Azure CLI. Okay, I think I have to write a couple of more things. That's the reason why I'm trying to write. You have Azure CLI, you have Azure PowerShell, okay, and then we have sorry, REST clients, okay. But these two internally use one more stuff, okay, which are basically called as Azure SDKs. So for example, if you are using any programming language to speak with Azure, you start from this layer. Now, all of these things, okay, all of these things will be communicating to Azure, or whenever you create anything in Azure, this is exactly what happens. Am I clear on this? So whenever you are doing anything in Azure, you are indirectly using a resource manager. In resource manager, using resource manager, what is that you create? You create resources. What is a resource? Resource is anything which you want for your purpose. And now resources can be provided, or resources are basically given to you by services. And in Azure, whenever you are to create anything, not only virtual machine, anything in Azure, this is basically what happens. Okay. So whenever you send any request, you will be verified whether you have an authentication to that or not. Once you have an authentication, then you will be basically allowed to basically get the stuff. Am I clear on this point? Okay. I am messed up the spelling, man. Shit. Right. Azure. Let me see if I can change it. Yeah. Okay. Right. So in Azure, whenever we are working, we are basically working with Azure Resource Manager, and we will have resource providers. Good. Right. Now let me take the screenshot of it. Save. Azure virtual machines. Images AZVM 3. Okay. Preview dot slash images slash AZVM 3 dot png. Users can create resources in Azure using Azure Portal, Azure CLI, Azure PowerShell. Okay. There is something called as Azure SDK also. SDK is something which your developers use, or you have some REST clients. All of the above mentioned ways interact with Azure Resource Manager to check the resource creation, or to create resources, or to manage resources is what I'll write. Okay. So same story for virtual machines also. Same story for virtual machines also. Am I clear on this? Wonderful. Right. Okay. And let me write some of the stuffs. Okay. Every resource in Azure has to be present in a resource group. Has to be present in a resource group. Okay. Right. Good. Now what we will do is let us try to understand. Okay, right. Or first, let us create a virtual machine. I'll create a Linux virtual machine in Azure. Okay, so the best part of Microsoft is its documentation. Okay, so whatever I cover in this class is basically completely from Microsoft's documentation. Okay, and I'll be giving you links to that also, right? Please refer them. Okay, so Azure Linux VM. Quick start. So I'll give link to this. Okay, please go through this, but in the classroom I'll try to show you how to do that. Okay, right. Now here, to do this we might need some softwares to be installed. If you are on the latest version of Windows 10, okay, latest version of, okay, if you are on latest version, when I say latest version, I'll not put it as the latest version, I'll put it as the latest update. So Windows 10 is basically releasing updates. If you are on a latest update, you don't need to install. No extra software is required. Okay, so I'll put it in this way. Windows 10. If you are on a latest update, no additional software is required. Okay, but in all the other cases, other Windows, okay, in this case I mean Windows 10 who have not updated to the latest version, install Git for Windows. Okay, if you are a Linux or a Mac user, okay, no software is required as you already have terminal. Okay, so install Git for Windows from here. So I'll give the link of that. Git for Windows. Okay, fine. Now over here, if you are working on a 32-bit machine or a 64-bit machine, you download whatever that makes sense to you. Right? So I am not doing this because in my system I have it. Okay, so after you install it on a Windows system, you should be able to see these two options: Git GUI here and Git Bash here. Am I clear on this? This is the only software that is required for you to connect to a Linux machine. Okay, right. Now let us go ahead and create a Linux virtual machine. So I'll go into the Azure. Today I'll do it in a procedural way. Yesterday I think I've shown you, but that was a quick way. All right. So I'll go to resource group section. Okay. Here I'm going to create a new resource group. Okay. So let me call this resource group as okay, VM learning. Then it is asking what is the location where you want to create this. Okay, you can choose anything. In this class, you see me mostly using Central US, but if you're interested in Indian location, you can do that. But there is only one catch in India. The machine which is provided freely is not available in Indian location yet. The machine which is free is not available in Indian location yet. Okay, right. Next, tags. Okay, so even though the purpose of the tags we will speak about it when the time comes, but it is always a good idea to give some kind of a tags. Your organization generally do this because I'll tell you one simple reason. Whenever you get a bill, you can filter your bill using tags. So for example, I have created a tag where I have used it something called as purpose, and then I have written it as classroom. Okay. Now, whenever I'm doing for my own purpose for my own purpose classroom. Okay. Now, when I get the bill, I can filter the bill by saying that, okay, what was the bill that I got when I used it for classroom? What is the bill which I got when I used it for my own learning purposes? I can filter it out in that way. Okay. So this is a good idea always to do that. So that's where I'm starting you to, I'm telling you to do use this. Okay. I've created a resource group. So once you create a resource group, okay, you can navigate to that resource group, okay, or click refresh over here. Okay. So you are inside that resource group. From here, you can basically create your resources, right? So to create your resources, you can basically use a add button over here or select over here. These are basically the favorites, okay, but it's okay. Click on all services. If you click on all services, basically you'll be seeing virtual machines, right? So if you have this star applied over here, then that is considered to be a favorite. Favorite means it will be shown over here. Okay. If the star is not applied over there, for example, let me see if the star is applied for this. Star is applied for this. For this, if you see, star is not applied. If I apply a star over here, so it will be bookmarked. When I click on this now, you go down, you will be seeing Kubernetes services, right? So depending on your usage, you can basically filter this one out. So I'll go to virtual machines, right? So there is already a virtual machine. Don't worry about that. I'm going to add a new one. I want to add a new virtual machine. Okay. Let me put it in this way. Virtual machine of size B1S is free. B1 is a machine with 1 GB of RAM and 1 virtual CPU. Okay. Now, what is the resource group in which I want to create? I want to create this in a resource group which is VM learning. What is the name of your VM? So Qt VM classroom. In which region do you want it? I want it in a region. I think we have selected Central US, right? Central US. Okay. Availability options. We might not know it now, but that's okay. Then it is asking image. Okay. This is an interesting stuff. This is where I want our discussion to start. Okay. So there are some key factors which you need to understand. Okay. So those three key factors which I want to understand are these three initially. Okay. Then we will go to the other options. AZ, VM. Okay. Right. Key terms to be understood. Okay. I think it is 4. Right. Okay. Now here I'll basically click on change size, and I said that B1S is a free machine. So are you using B1S? I'll select this B1S. I will select this B1S. We'll come back to all of this again. Okay. Then the next important thing which you need to understand is this stuff. Okay. credentials. Okay, in Linux we have two kinds of credentials: username and password, and username and key. Okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, so let me save this VM5. Okay, so then we have spoken about some of this in uh, yesterday's class itself. What is important while you basically create a virtual machine? Okay, right? And then ports to be opened for communication. And in Linux, whenever you want to log in into a Linux machine, at a bare minimum, you need a port called as 22, right? So, okay. So if you already know all of these things, wonderful. I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about the people for whom all of this stuff is new. All right. So AZVM 6, right? So these are the bare minimum things which you need to understand. Okay. So let me come from beginning again. Whenever you are creating a virtual machine, you have to give a resource group. You have to tell in which region does this machine needs to belong. Availability options, I am not speaking at this moment, so leave it like that. And then are you seeing this image? This image, what is this image? Okay, this image will tell in your virtual machine what will be the operating system. Okay, that is the easier way to look at this thing. But image is much beyond that. Image is much beyond that. Okay, but as of now, in this class, just try to understand that this image which you are seeing, this image which you are seeing will help you in selecting operating system of your choice. So for example, I see Ubuntu here, I see Red Hat here, I see SUSE here, I see CentOS here. Okay, and apart from all of that, there is, if I click on browse all public and private options, there is a whole lot of images over here. Okay, right? So what is the image? At this moment, understand the image as an operating system in your that you want in your virtual machine. So I am selecting Ubuntu 18. Next, spot instance. Okay, I'll not speak about spot instance also. Right. Now size. Whenever you are trying to speak about size in Azure, you are speaking about, okay, let me write them. Okay. Uh, Key terms to be understood. Image is operating system to be selected. But understand this is as of now. There is a different meaning to that. Okay. Now I'm trying to write size. Size, okay, in Azure describes following. One is it will try to describe what is RAM size. Okay. CPU information. How many virtual CPUs do you have and all of that. Okay. And along with that, it tells some key, right, important storage information. Important storage information. And it also tells about cost of the virtual machine. Cost of the virtual machine. Depending on the size, you will have a cost. Am I clear on this? So whenever you are selecting a virtual machine size, you are selecting a virtual machine size, and each virtual machine size will tell you what is the size of the RAM, what is the CPU information, right? It tells something important about storage which you can ignore at this moment, and then it will try to tell you cost of the VM. So let me look into it. I'll click on change size. Okay, and if you see, I select B1S, and if you see, it is trying to tell me what is the CPU information, it is trying to tell me RAM information, and it is trying to tell me something about storage. And it tells that this machine will cost me approximately 603 rupees per month. But understand one thing, 603 rupees per month is the actual cost. If you are in a free first year of your plan, that will be waived off. That will be waived off. Okay, right. Am I clear on this? Now, if I scroll down, I select this machine. This machine tries to tell that you will have two virtual CPUs. You will get 7 GB of RAM, and you get something about your storage. And this machine costs you 7,000 rupees. Depending on what your account, where your account has been created, it will show that local currency, right? For if you have created a account in US, it might show you in dollars, right? So I'm selecting B1S because B1S is a free machine, right? Now let us come to this. Okay, so in Linux, to log in into the Linux, there are two ways of logging in into Linux. One is username and password, the other one is username and public key. Username and public key. So let us not get into complexity today. Let us try to easily get into username and password. So I'm setting some username, I call it as Qt DevOps, and I set some password. Okay, then what are the ports that are supposed to be opened? For me to log in into this Linux machine, at a bare minimum, I need to open 22 port. Okay, there is still some options, but I am not getting into all of that. I click on review and create. Okay, because still there is a lot to understand. This networking management advanced, okay, and tags also, right? And you can click on create. Okay, I'll take your question, guys, but now creating a Windows VM in Azure. So I'll give a link to this. I'll not write much of notes, but yeah, uh, Azure Windows VM quick start. Okay, right, right. Okay. Yesterday, why less regions it showed? I'll come back to that, Shravan. Okay. So now using the same knowledge, let us try to create a Windows machine. So this machine is under creation. It's okay. Now I'll go to home. In the home, I'll select resource groups, right? Or I can select virtual machines. Let me select virtual machines. Let me select virtual machines. And then I would say that now I want to create one virtual machine. Okay. So our resource group was VM learning. I select that. And over here, I try to tell that Qt Windows VM. And then my location is going to be Central US. And in the image, it will not be Ubuntu anymore. I will select any Windows flavor. So let me select Windows 2016 server. Okay. And then it will ask what is the size. So I'll select the free one. Okay. But Windows machine with 1 GB of RAM will be dead slow. So it's okay, but still we are not worried about the performance of the machine. I'm setting the username. So Qt DevOps. If you see in Windows, you don't have the other option. In Windows, because the only option is username and password. In Linux, to communicate from one Windows machine to another Linux machine, or one Linux machine to other Linux machine, we use a protocol which is SSH. In the case of Windows, the protocol is RDP. So we are opening RDP for communication. I click on review and create. So if you see, it is not much different whether you create a Windows machine or whether you create a Linux machine. The thing which you have basically changed is you have changed the image. Okay, but Windows machines are slightly costlier because of Windows comes with an operating system charge also, right? And then I click on create. So I was able to create a Linux machine which is already created, which is up and running. And now I want to create, I am creating the Windows machine which is under construction or which is under creation. Okay. Now whatever has happened will always be shown over here. Now if you click on this, if you remember, deployment has succeeded. Okay. So all of you are requested. For example, first initially you said that I want to create a resource group. Let us go back to our classical image which we started. From Azure portal, you said that you want to create a resource group. The request has went to Azure Resource Manager. Azure Resource Manager has created a resource group. Then from Azure portal, you said that I want to create a virtual machine. So Azure portal has sent the request to the Azure Resource Manager, and the resource provider of virtual machine has helped in creating a virtual machine. Okay. So that is exactly what is basically happening over here. When it says deployment, Azure Resource Manager calls creations as deployments. Now, let me go to this resource. This is a Linux machine. Okay. So I have asked you to install Git Bash, right? Now, once you have a Git Bash, you have to do one thing. I think yesterday I've asked you to go through some videos. If you have gone through that videos, I have spoken about it. Command is very, very simple. SSH username at the rate IP address to connect to a Linux machine. Now, if you go to this is the IP address. Okay. So SSH, and if you remember, our username was Qt DevOps. If you forgot that username, you can click on connect button, and in the connect button, if you click on SSH, it would try to tell you, okay, what was your username at least. Okay. Right, but there should not be a need for that because you have created the username. At least it, you should remember that. Okay, Qt DevOps at the rate this. Now copy this, and for the people who are on the latest version of Windows, you can open PowerShell from here. You can open PowerShell. So go to your Windows and type PowerShell. Okay, this is for the people who have updated the latest version. And now you type your SSH command over here. Then it will ask, do you want me to confirm connecting? Yes. It will ask for a password. That's it. If you have entered your password correctly, you are inside it. If you click on exit, you will come out. Okay. Right. Now, for the people who don't have this, okay, right, who are not on the latest version of Windows, but still on Windows, right click and open Git Bash here. We have installed Git for Windows. Command is same. SSH Qt DevOps at the rate. Oh, I have all command copied, is it? Okay, fine. Right. It will also ask for yes or no. For me, it is not asking because I have already entered logged in into this machine. Enter the password. No. Am I clear on this? So once you can come out of this machine, right? Okay. Now let us see what is happening with respect to Windows machine. So Windows machine also says that the resource is created. Now to connect to a Windows machine, you need a remote desktop viewer. If you are working from Mac, then you need to install that remote desktop viewer. If you are working from a Linux command line, you will not be able to directly connect to this machine. But if you are working from Windows Server, it is very much simple. Okay, just click on this connect, and are you seeing RDP? Click on this RDP. Okay, then you can do one thing. You can download this RDP file. Today I'll recommend doing that. Tomorrow I'll show you how to basically run this from without downloading anything. Just click on this, download RDP file, save this, and click on open. Just say connect. Then it will ask what is your username. My username is QT DevOps Mother India @123. This is generally the password which I put always for insecure connections. Right. This machine will be dead slow. Imagine that you are running a Windows server or 1 GB of RAM. You cannot expect this machine to be fast. Yeah. But if you see, I have created a Linux machine and a Windows machine in somewhere in US on Microsoft Azure, right? Right? They are present in Azure regions, and me from my system without having any physical servers, I am able to create virtual machines, right? Now, this is basically what the whole concept is all about. Okay. This machine will be dead slow. It takes time for you to get the whole view of the Windows desktop, right? Yeah, yeah. It will be slow, right? Because the machine size is very less. But I think you got the crux of the whole point over here. Okay. So sounds interesting. Okay. There are many things to learn. But today what we have tried to understand is it is how do we create and what happens when we create. Internally, yesterday we have tried to understand at a physical level, whenever you are making a request, Azure Resource Manager will send a request to the orchestrator. Orchestrator will try to find out a fabric controller, and fabric controller will find one physical server. This is internals, right? But if you look at the logical layer, what will happen? This is what happens in the logical layer. You from a portal, whenever you make a request, you speak with Azure Resource Manager, and every resource manager will have resource providers which get the job for you after they have authenticated you. So after you are authenticated and authorized, then you will be able to create resources. Am I clear on this? Yeah. One resource group you can use as many as you want. Okay. And Shravan, you have asked me a question yesterday, why was it showing less regions? If you have seen yesterday, I said that we were using free services. And when we said free services, the only size that is allowed is B1S. And B1S is not present in all the regions. B1S is not present in all the regions. So for example, if you want to create a B1S in Chennai, it is not possible. So yesterday it was showing only the regions where B1S is present. That's where the number was low. That's where the number was low. Right. So Dheeraj has one question which says that I have existing free tier account. However, while accessing the free tier account, shall I create? Dheeraj, it is not required. I think you need to create a pay as you go. But if you have created your account, a free tier account long back, I think if it is more than a year, then I would recommend creating a new account. If that is not the case, if you have created at least less than 1 month ago or somewhere in between 1 year, then what you can do is you have to create a pay as you go subscription. You might have received a mail from Microsoft. Please follow that. Yeah, right. So are we clear with whatever we have discussed today? So in Azure, who creates everything? Azure Resource Manager. And we as the users make requests to Azure Resource Manager. Yeah. Do we have Q&A this weekend? Hopefully we'll have, Shravan. We'll definitely have a Q&A this weekend. Okay. Is resource manager same as resource group? No, 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 no. Resource group is different. Resource manager is who does the work. Resource group is a logical collection of resources, right? They are not same, they are different. I tried creating an yesterday, but selecting the size of VM options, the storage options are grayed out. Okay. Uh, while selecting the Ubuntu VM, the storage options are grayed out. I'm not sure, but if you can send me some kind of a screenshot, Narayan, I think I'll be able to answer you that. Can we use putty as well as to log in into Linux machine? The answer is absolutely you can use putty. You will never see me using putty in this classroom because it is I personally hate that software. It looks like you're working on Windows, not on a Linux stuff. That's the reason I use Git Bash, where Bash is one kind of a shell, one kind of a shell like stuff. So it gives you a comfortable feeling. So that's a personal choice. If you want to go with putty, you can definitely go ahead with this. Will you cover creating VM using automation tool? I'm not sure what an automation tool is, but we will be speaking create for you. What is automation tool? I'm not sure because there is nothing called as automation tool in Azure. We will be creating the VM from CLI and from portal from PowerShell also. Yeah. Yeah, that could be the reason. Terraform will not be covered for in this classroom. In this in Azure class, we cover only with respect to ARM templates. If you want how to create a virtual machine in Terraform, that is what happens in what will happen in DevOps class, not here. Okay. Right, man. Uh, any further questions? Good. So we have understood the physical way of working. Today we have tried to bring up the logical way of working. All right. From tomorrow onwards, we'll go one level deeper into all the options of virtual machines because we have to speak about many things, many things. So we have to speak about what is that availability, what are the VM types and sizes, right? What are spot instances, what are dedicated hosts, right? And Microsoft is coming up with very new strange things, right? So we'll learn about all of that. Okay, fine. So I'll stop it at that for today, and we'll meet again tomorrow to continue this discussion. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. So I think how to raise Azure questions anytime, like we have for Rahul. Just give me a couple of days. I'll be sharing you a link, and you can raise your concerns while you are doing practice over there. Okay, but for that you have to be registered. Once you have registered, I'll be sending you that link. Okay, so there is an online link available where you can raise questions at any time, and turnaround time you can expect that to be 1 day. If you are in Indian time zone, it will not be 1 day, but it can be anything. Yeah, right. Okay, sir. Thanks for your time.